And as you bring it up, it'll actually lift both wheels off the ground. So you can get one in there under that that rear jack point supported with a jack stand.
Yeah, you might make sure the jack point's still there. I knocked two of them off the autocross, and then I found them and put them back on. But
then ease it down.
of course, I had to turn around. Sorry.
And here you can see we just lifted the car up. First step, get it in the air, and then we've popped both of the rear wheels. And that's a 17-inch socket that goes in behind the bar, and that's a 17-inch or 17mm open-end wrench, and a 16-inch socket that we're using twisting opposite of each other to get that steering linkage or that linkage off of the stock Swaybar.
13. We'll be so knowledgeable about Swaybar.
Yeah, no kidding.
13 with the extension.
It's already set up.
Spun out, you know, like that.
I'll put that back on there.
Like that.
Yeah, make sure you don't lose that nut.
Yeah. That's how it works.
We had two small.
Here, if you get a good look at it, coming up from underneath, there's two bolts, one right there and one right there. Let me back out. As you can see, it's on either side of that large spring, and you've got to pull both of those out. Hard to see from there.
Yeah, it is. The other one's even harder to see.
Yep, but there's two bolts that stick up and hold that suspension tower in place. What size socket you get on there?
13mm.
13.
I have to pull it over to the side to get it out of its little socket.
Yep. So we're pressing down on the disc of the brake.
It's there on the way, but enough.
And trying to pull that shock tower out of the way. Looks, I think it'll come further back, guys.
Let me push and you pull.
Now you can see that the sway bar right here is loose.
What size?
That the steering bracket is gone.
16.
That we moved this spring towards the back. And our next target are these two bolts. This is the actual sway bar that we're going to replace, and these two bolts hold down a bracket and the bushing, so we can pull that bar out.
You got. See that one right there? Yeah. This
Here,
one,
we just pulled the two bolts from right out of here.
Are the two that we have to undo on both sides.
It causes that sway bar to come real loose. And you can pull that whole bracket and bushing
separated so
right off of there. So the whole bar is shaking around in there. Alright, now the next thing you got to do is detach the subframe from the body, and there's two bolts on an S or a Cooper. One is right here, and you can see I'm looking, there's the brake drum, so it's just inside, and there's a large box frame right here that you can stick your finger in the end. Alright, and there's your bolt that you're looking for. So there's that bolt we were just talking about. It's a 16mm. Now there's another one you got to crawl onto the car to see. Get yourself up under there. And where did it go? Here we go. You can see there's I think it's an analog brake sensor right here. And right behind it, there's a bracket up here with two holes in it. And the inside hole towards the center of the car has a bolt in it. That's another 16mm bolt that holds the subframe onto the body of the car, and that one's got to come out as well. And there's 2 on each side of the car, both on the driver's side and the passenger side. So you got to take all 4 of them out.
We can match him to his car.
Yeah, that's right.
For those of you with the cabrio, follow the exhaust pipe right there back. There's the all the way back, and you can see there's the metal heat shielding back here. This is the exhaust pipe, and there's a bolt. The 5th subframe bolt is right up here. 16 millimeter?
Yes.
Right? And this is a piece of the heat shielding right here that we had to bend back to find that bolt. But sacrifice is good, right? You have to pry down that. You have the pry bar over there?
Yeah, it's just a little bit. This one's a little thicker bar than the one we took out.
Yep.
There you go. You're good.
So you always have to insert these suckers from the driver's side. And when you come over to the passenger side, sometimes you have to pry down on that subframe, that box bar, so you can fit that, get it around and thread that thing through the shock tower where the spring is there.
Next is put the subframe back up.
It's bright yellow. You can see it in there, and they packed it with grease, both on the outside and the inside of it. You want to try and get that bracket back in there? So there's a little black bracket that goes up on the top of that, and 2 bolts. You know what size those bolts are? Were those 13?
These are 13s.
13 millimeter. That go down on top, and those suckers are a pain in the ass to get threaded and get back on there.
Let me get on this side of you.
And as you're putting all these things back together, of these 2 bolts, put the one that's towards the front of the car in first, and it'll make your life a little easier. Alright, now here's the hard part. Trying to get the subframe back up to where it touches the bottom of the car and lines up those bolts as you're putting everything back together again. As you can see, we're underneath the car. There's the driver's side rear brake disc. And here's the floor jack. And on the floor jack is a large hammer. Okay? And you can see that hammer sticking up. And it's touching that, there was that inside subframe bolt that was screwed in there. We took it out, and there were 2 holes. So this is touching the outside hole that's not being used, and we just jacked that sucker up and lifted the subframe up against the bottom of the car, and that'll line that hole up so that you can get those inside subframe bolts in. Once you get those in and get them up pretty tight, the bottom ones, the outside subframe bolts that go in right here, are going to be a lot easier to take care of.